The history of wit. Look at this. There are slides. Ye wailed his ye witte. Wise woman or wise wife. Witty, meaning wise, sane, or conscious. So once you've got something, you have it. Welcome. If you are joining us on YouTube, I bid you a very fond welcome. This is a channel all about language and linguistics, and today we are going to be talking about etymology. English etymology, in fact. We're going to be looking at the etymology of a word, a whole family of words actually, and it's all going to center around this word wit. So if I cannot provide any wit of my own, I can at least hopefully explain some etymological details about the word. And so with that, I am going to swap us over to, look at this, there are slides. I prepared in advance. Imagine that. And I'm going to bring up everything I need in order to explain the history of wit. Right, okay. So wit is one of the few remnants of a word, of a family of words that was once widespread in English. And all of these words had to do with knowledge in some way. Most of these words have now been lost, but some do remain. Although sometimes the connections between them aren't always obvious, at least they weren't to me before I started looking into it. So let's take a little bit of a look at the family tree of the word wit. So the modern English word wit comes down to us from an old English word wit or yewit, meaning your senses or your, one's right mind, the mind or the intellect in general, or knowledge, understanding, and consciousness. So let's take a look. So we have an example here. Nu bidde ich te that thu hi on yewitte yebringe. Now I ask you to return her to her senses. And so we have this word yewitte here, and here it has the meaning of one's right mind. Return her to her senses. We also have a meaning like mind or intellect. So seo wird kymth of tham yewitte thas almichtian godes. So fate comes from the mind of Almighty God. So literally from the wit, but from the mind. So mind or intellect was another meaning. What else do we have? We have the meaning yewit, meaning consciousness. So we have a sentence here in Beowulf. König yewailed his yewitte. So the king recovered his consciousness. And you can think of, we have this sort of use for wit in English. You can say, I have my wits about me. This is this kind of thing. The meaning of the word wit has narrowed significantly in modern English to what we know today. So let's look at a passage from Dickens. And I have to move myself over to here so that you can see everything. Okay. So, living by his wits, which means the abuse of every faculty that worthily employed raises man above the beasts. So, in the plural, it retains this meaning of your intellectual faculties, but when it goes into the singular, it becomes a quality of writing or speech that, we could say it surprises or delights by its novelty. So, here is a quotation from Alexander Pope. True wit is nature to advantage dressed, what oft was thought, but ne'er before expressed. So this is roughly what we have in modern English as the meaning of the word wit. But let's see some other paths that this family of words has taken. So from yewit, we have an adjective in Old English, witty or yewitty, meaning wise, sane, or conscious. And you may recognize that this is the source of our modern English word witty. So here's an example of the Old English meaning. Heo tharichte werth yewitti. So she became sane at once. If we were to translate this literally, it would be something like she became witty at once. But that is not what was meant in the original. Do we have another one? I believe we do. Ne forlät the non the witty bit. Nor does anyone who is wise forsake you. So here it's not that they're charming at parties, telling anecdotes, it's that they're wise. This word has also shrunk in its range of meanings in modern English. So we would not probably use the word witty to describe God. But in the Middle English period, and forgive me, I do not have a really good Middle English pronunciation, so I'm not going to read this one out, lest I embarrass myself. But you can see, so if I were to sort of translate this word for word into modern English, now I have to figure out where to put my camera again. Oops, nope, that's just the part of it. Move you over here. Great. So it would be something like, this God is the most mighty thing that may be, the most witty and the most rightful. Translation, the wisest and the most just. Oh, and do you like the fact that I've color-coded the different periods of English? So the green is Middle English. All right, so I think I need like 4 screens to see everything I need to see. Then we see that it shrinks in the modern English period. So we have cases where you can be witty without being particularly wise, just by being capable of making a clever turn of phrase. So here we have a quotation: satire is a witty and severe attack of mischievous habits or vices. The older meaning of witty, that is wise, actually carries on in the modern English word wise, which is also, of course, a member of this family. The Old English ancestor of wise is wijs. So here we have a quotation, and basically the meaning has been the same, has remained the same. Se kuning him cheose sumne wijne man an glaune. May the king choose for himself some wise and prudent man. So that is a form of wijs. Wise also had a meaning skilled, or it could be used in the phrase wise of, skilled in. So here we have a Middle English example, where we have this word. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the pronunciation was wijs in Middle English, and the meaning wijs of craft, skilled at art. So in the world there was none so skilled at art. If anyone knows of a good Middle English pronunciation guide, please let me know, because I would love to become super skilled at doing Middle English readings. Lots of fun there. There was a more specific meaning of wise, of this wise word that meant skilled, but it meant skilled specifically in magic. So we have a phrase wise woman or wise wife, which means more or less a witch. So Agnes Sampson, commonly called the wise wife of Keith, was a woman not of the base and ignorant sort of witches. Interesting. That's from 1655. And it may or may not surprise you that we also get the word wizard from this. So wizard is morphologically is wise plus ard, this French suffix, this suffix French in origin, ard. And this is the same ard suffix that shows up in coward and drunkard. It comes from a Germanic element, suffix, something like hard, which was used in name. This meant hardy, and it was used in names. Let's see if we have, yes. So we have other examples of these ard suffix. Do we have a few? We do. So here we have bastard. That's a good example. This comes from a Germanic word meaning a morganatic marriage, bast plus ard. We have coward, which comes from the Old French word for tail. So someone perhaps who runs off with their tail between their legs. Interestingly, so this Germanic suffix gets borrowed into French and then gets borrowed back into a Germanic language, Middle English, where it's used to form kind of pejorative nouns. So coward, drunkard, bastard. And it can even be used with native Germanic roots, such as wizard. Oh, there's drunkard for you. The origin of this suffix comes from the name something like, well, it'll be different in every Germanic language, but something like Reinhard. This is this is a name compound which means advice and hardy. So this is Reynard, Renard in the later French. All right, I don't want to get too sidetracked on this. Let's get back to wise things. Wizards, wizards, wizards. And I move my little box again, and I will make sure to draw this on the slides when I make them next time. Okay, where is our script? Okay, so here we have this word wizard. Usually this was used in a pejorative sense originally, and it didn't necessarily mean someone going around casting magic spells. It could mean a philosopher or a sage. So here I'll modernize the pronunciation. The Grecians have therein taken great pains, naming it first Sophia, and such as therein were skilled sophists or wizards. So here we're talking about philosophers. And here we have another example. I call myself a wizard as well, but that's only the polite term for conjurer. In fact, I should think that wizard meant an astrologer and more of a fortune teller. Ironically, it's kind of funny that the word wizard in modern English has broadened out to mean someone who's just skilled at something. So we see this wise root just sort of existing in the same sort of area for centuries. So let's a kind of financial wizard, right? We know people who are technical wizards, financial wizards, wizards with the stock market, and we're saying they're wise or skilled in something. So that's kind of cool. Another Old English word related to this wis word is wise. And just come up with a drinking game where you have to drink every time I have to move the move my camera. Is okay, there we go. This word, wise, or suffix as it survives into modern English, means manner or way. So it survives into modern English with the same kind of meaning as a suffix. So we have words like likewise, lengthwise, otherwise. Here's a sentence here. Each tha leo de wat, faste je worte, aichwas untale el de wisan. Which translates as, I know those people, firmly disposed, blameless in everything, in the ancient way, el de wisan. If we were to translate this morpheme by morphing into modern English, we'd have old wise. So this is in the ancient way. We have some more, I think, here. Double wise, so doubly. From Chaucer. From Kipling, she treated them despiteful wise. And we have, not this exact word, but a Germanic cousin of this word getting borrowed into French as guise, which meant manner or way. So he fights in the manner of a lion here. Then, interestingly enough, this guise gets borrowed into English again, or, well, perhaps it was never in English, but its cousin was, wise. And so we have this kind of doublet in English. We have wise, the suffix meaning way or manner, and then we have the English word guise. It was never our guise to slight the poor or aught humane despise. So it was never our manner. Or custom, habitual way of doing things. Maybe it'd be the best paraphrase. It later evolved into its present meaning, which is, you're not missing any, oh no, you are missing something. Okay, I gotta move this again. Old carvings represent a fox in the guise of a priest preaching to a flock of geese. So here we have the meaning of outward appearance. So we go from manner or way into custom or habitual way of doing things into outward appearance. And so that's the path of guise. The relationship of wise to the other wit words is a bit oblique. The full set of the Old English meanings of the word wise included not just the manner or way, but also an affair, cause, or reason. So let's take a look at this sentence here. He havde his wisan bethocht to seleukuse. He had entrusted his affairs. So what we can see is that this is a very general word, a lot of latitude in its meaning in Old English. The connection might come from the fact that a wise, a manner or a way, is something that you have to know about in order to proceed with it, but that may be a little speculative. There's another word in this family that I really can't go on any longer without mentioning, which is witan or yawitan, which meant to know. So this word is basically gone in contemporary English, although you do see it in the phrase to wit, literally to know. Accounting for what we frequently see, to wit, that dull fellows prove very good men of business. This verb, however, shows up a ton in earlier forms of English. And you can see it even in modern English in times where sort of an archaic flavor is needed. And this verb, that should say witan, to know. So wost here, you do not know. And we see this is a very interesting word because it's inflected in a kind of a way that's not super regular in modern English. And let's take a look at an example. So here we go. For because that two of his servants were sick, he wist not whereof. Wist here meaning knew. And as always, I am in the wrong spot. Thy twits are lulled, I wot, I know. And so this is a special kind of verb in Old English called a preterite present verb. And this means that the verb forms, let's see if we have anything. Yes. Okay, let's go here. The verb forms look like past tense forms. The present tense forms look like past tense forms. So you can, one way to sort of wrap your head around this is that it comes from a verb which had a more present-like meaning, like to, it came from sorry, let me rephrase this. You know how in modern English you can often say, I've got it, to mean I have it. Because the result of having got something is having it. So once you've got something, you have it. And similarly, in this verb witan, comes from a root meaning to see, which you see in the Latin videre. That gives us vision, video, things like that in modern English. the idea is that once you have seen something, you know it. Maybe. I mean, that's one theory anyway. So that's one way of wrapping your head around this, that these preterite-present verbs represent the result of having been in a state earlier. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So we have videre in Latin and vitan in English, which are cognates. Okay, here's another one that's kind of cool. Because if you've seen something or if you know something, you have ye witness of that. You have knowledge. You can bear witness to the fact. So this word ye witness in Old English had this meaning knowledge. Buton godes willan and buton his ye witnesse. Without God's will and without his knowledge. But it's interesting because it could also be used in the sense of testimony. On Moises boca ye witnesse, by the testimony of the books of Moses. And if we look at the origin of the word, or we look at the development of the word testimonium in Latin, originally we have it meaning testimony, but we have it evolving into someone who gives testimony, a witness, like témoin in French. So this happens as well in Old English. So we have the use of ye witness, meaning a person who witnesses something. Winflad ye ladde hyre ye witnesse, that was Sierige archbishop, etc. So Winflad brought her witnesses. While we're talking about people who know things, here's my little segue. We also have this word witinayemot. It's two words actually. We have the witan, who's we have a wise man or a counselor. They made up the witinayemot, the assembly of the wise, or the parliament in this period. So here we have a sentence: "Tha havde Edward, king, witinayemot on Lunden to Midlengten." Then King Edward had a parliament, witinayemot, Wittenmoot. You might also see it sort of modernized, in London at Midland. And I'm sorry if there are things in the chat that I haven't looked at yet, because I only have so much screen space here. But I'll just keep going through until I finish. We also have a word wisa, which meant leader. Swa thu haledum ert, ana aldum erbuendum werd and wisa. So shall you alone be warden and leader, wisa, of all earth-dwelling heroes. Wisa meaning leader. That's really interesting because the wisa can wisian, can guide. So we have this verb wisian. Earth kuningas ek alle swilche folkum her fore wisian. The kings of the earth too, all those who at the head of the peoples here may guide, wisian, to lead or to guide, to show the way. This actually has a descendant in Scots. Oops, now we've gone a bit off screen here. Well, just pretend you can't see that other color at the top. She took me by the hand and wised me to go back. So that is, I'm going to just move myself away because I can't figure this out. That is the rough survey of a bunch of words that are all related to this word wit. There are, many more out there, but I'm going to cheesily invoke Shakespeare and say brevity is the soul of wit. Right? That's, I think, the best quotation involving wit. And so I'll be showing my own lack of wisdom if I keep prattling on. So if you have watched my ramblings through time and space on this this topic of the word wit so far, and you've reached all this point, thank you for doing so. And I would encourage you to consider subscribing to this very channel, because etymology is one of the things that we do fairly frequently. And if you like it, you'll see more of it if you subscribe.